This is how you come down. One day to take off. Pissing rain out. And, okay, before I forget, Russell Brand. He, another guy I have had time to listen to for sure. I 100% believe the guy's got his shit together between his ears. He's obviously passionate about, about the truth. He cares about people, and he has definitely swung his time to being dedicated to bringing truth to all of you. That's a lot of time, man. When people donating their time during a lot of truth, I mean, I donate a bit of time, but I can't imagine what kind of time it takes for those people that do it so intensely. I mean, man, they got to do a shit pile of digging, a shit pile of verifying, a lot of due diligence behind the scenes. I'm sure he must have a team of people that he trusts that are like-minded people that bring forth the information. But anyway, I do have time for him now and then as well. He is a very solid source. I would trust him. I got respect for him. Russell Brand. Sometimes, his delivery can be quite animated, comical, which may be somewhat annoying to some people because you don't want to hear the bullshit. You don't want to hear any flavor of potential bullshit, or just let's talk about the goods. But it is what it is. I think the guy's very solid, very intelligent, and he knows what's up, and it frustrates him, and he wants all of you to know the truth. So there you go. Russell Brand, that's the latest name I will drop to you with confidence that I feel your time is worthy spent there if you really do give a shit what's going on in your world today. What else? Quick note, you didn't believe it happened yesterday. I got to tell you this. So I just went and bought tickets. I thought everybody was just traveling freely now, right? I mean, I did not get the needle, and I will not. It's not going to happen. I trust my body. I trust my natural immune system, and I did catch that virus, and I've had more, and I've nearly died from another one. I'm still here. But anyway, teach their own. But no, I will not accept anything forced on me from any government. It's not going to happen. I don't give a shit what it is. When you get a bunch of politicians deciding amongst themselves that they're going to force something on the public, not going to happen. On that note, I went and bought the tickets. Here we are, jacked up, ready to go. We've been hostage to the Western governments for a few years now, and previously, and well before I started doing this, and before I met Sarah, I remember I used to fly so often it was stupid. I could go wherever I wanted. I flew down to the States all the time to go see friends and hang out for weeks at a time. I remember one time I counted, I took off and landed 51 times in 1 year. So you can imagine the frustration I have and also I have the personality that I can't stand being told what to do, period. So you imagine the frustration I've had to bite and chew and swallow this past couple of years when it comes to freedom. And I bought the tickets. Luckily, Sarah checked the itinerary late last night, supposed to leave tomorrow for Vancouver, and it said that you can't fly into the States unless you've had the forced needle. What? I couldn't figure it out because I know Dave Plattis, he's not giving it either. He won't, but he's coming here. He said he's going to be near me in Victoria. I'm like, well, how the hell is Dave doing that? I'm like, oh, right. So you can take a ferry boat direct from Victoria to Seattle. So I'm guessing I should have texted him. That's how he's doing it at the end of his cruise, Alaska cruise. I'm like, oh, okay, so that's how he figured that one. I'm like, okay, well, no big deal. We'll just drive across the border. We'll drive down to Seattle. I got this. Sarah literally broke down in tears crying. I'm like, oh, that kills me. And no, she doesn't ever use that as a weapon, but when she's crying, it frickin' kills me. I'm like, oh my God, no. And then, of course, I phone them up. Oh, no, you can't have we can't refund it. you're gonna have to have a credit. So I got a credit with Delta. The hell am I gonna do with that, right? Shit! I'm freaking on fire, pissed last night. On fire! I don't keep my shit together. Sarah's basically sliding into suicidal depression. She succumbed to the, we're not going. Then I started looking for tickets and all, trying to find a way to get past the States. Only country. The only country. You know, you can drive across the border and jump into a stadium full of thousands of people at a football game. No problem. Without being tested, or you might even have some kind of a deadly virus. Doesn't matter. You can drive over here and come on, jump into a football game stadium, and it's okay. All right. Oh, you want to fly over here? No. Right? Anyway, so it took me forever, and I was losing my patience. I rarely lose my patience, but I got my shit together. Shitstorm going on between my ears while I've got 7 different windows open online. And then I finally found a way around it for the same price. It's direct from Vancouver, Tokyo, and then across. Made it. So, game on. We're traveling again, but I'll tell you, it was pretty tense last night. And then, of course, I didn't tell Sarah that I booked it. And then she's in the kitchen. I walked up to her and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, maybe we could go, I don't know, I guess we could go to Mexico for a couple days or something. I don't know. Just a bunch of cartel shooting going on at the airport. It's no big deal. And she kind of looks at me, and then I went, we're going anyway. So that was pretty good. So she gets to go. What a pain in the ass. What a pain in the ass. Anyways, I'm starting to ramble. Oh yeah, the mug. She wanted me to pass on. She said this morning, she goes, I just got a bunch of emails from people that were, they wanted to get the, this Club of No Return stuff that she's got, but they didn't feel right buying because they had seen a Sasquatch. But that's not the point. You don't have to see to know, right? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if my grandfather took me aside as a boy and told me that there are hair-covered, upright, large beings thriving in the mountains, the forest, wherever, alongside us, then I would know, right? It'd be like somebody gives you the knowledge, now you know. It's up to you what you're going to do with that knowledge you just accepted. So, now, once you know, you know. That goes for everybody in this club, all right? You don't have to see someone to be in the member of a chunk of knowledge that's available and accepted as fact because tens, hundreds of thousands of people sharing the same thing. So now you know. Once you know, you know. There's no going back. It's just all what you do with that information that everybody's sharing, right? So there you go. Pass that on. It's okay. This is for every single person here. Once you know, right? She'll say another version. I don't know if it's available or not. There's another version of it at the bottom where it says, once you know, you know. The other one says, I didn't ask for it. This is the Club of No Return. Didn't ask for it. Right? Imagine how many people can relate to that, including me. Didn't ask for it. Now the inbox is absolutely jammed. A lot of freaking emails. What else? Now that I'm going on my rant, I got to share one more thing. It'll just make your head spin, all right? So up here in Canada, Stan, there's a woman who's in second command. So it would have been the Canadian version of Kamala Harris, only probably more intelligent than Kamala by the looks of it, but probably 50 times more evil. And she is direct DNA bloodline from a prolific Nazi war criminal in Germany. It's fact. It's easily looked up. But anyway, and she's also been at the heel, probably orally pleasuring Klaus Schwab, that Nazi who wants to annihilate all the people who don't make $1 billion a year. And she's in second command in Canada. She probably has 10 times the brain power of the little puke that's in the position of being leader. But anyway, they caught her. I have to share this with the world. They caught her, that little Canadian regime, trying to pass a bill to, they needed $2 billion for a company. They needed to pass it real quick. And then thankfully, there's a couple of people in politics in Canada, Stan, that aren't corrupt, and they pointed out to her on video, this company doesn't exist. We just looked into it, and this company that you want to throw the $2 billion into doesn't exist. Okay, this is the second command of the Canada Stand. What was the little Nazi Spawn's reply was, she looked at her, says, it's really good that you're diligent and cracking the numbers, and that's why you're here, and I appreciate you for that. But at times, Canada needs to move fast, and Canada needs to move fast forward, and goes into a car salesman pitch where she didn't hear what she said. But anyways, I decided to share that with the world, that is an example of what is going on with the people who are in control. They blatantly have zero regard for the people. Another reason why I tell everybody when they say, we need the government to tell us this. You don't need the government for anything. They are the enemy right now, currently in our world today. They are the enemy. There's no getting around it. It's not me being some kind of a wackopath. I'm just reading the fine print the way it reads. But how fricking brutal is that, right? And the shitty part is that 9 out of 10 people that hear this and see this are going to look at it on the screen, listen to her words, see what's going down, and go, wow, you see that? They're going to go to Tim Hortons, have a coffee, and bitch about it with all the other old farts, and they're going to go home, and that's the end of it. And that's why these people are blatantly doing these nasty, disgusting frickin' things. It's brutal. There you go. Rant over. Now, I give the microphone to the people. But isn't that frickin' nasty? Nasty. Anyway, like I always say, never, ever, ever, ever give up your guns. I do not. And if you don't have any, get some. That's all I got to say. If you don't have any, get some. Learn how to use them. Now, well, my buddy just texted me whose truck was stolen. He just got home. This is good. Now, this is titled, Not a Story, Just a Question. Hey, Steve, long-time listener. Just a quick question about the guy who has pics of Sabe in Fort St. James, BC. Do you have a name or any info on him? As I'm a First Nations guy who was born and raised in Fort and probably know the guy or even related to him, LOL. But any info would be great. Greatly appreciated. Thanks. You know what, man? I don't have a name. I don't have a name, unfortunately. But all I had from that story was I had a guy who's friends with him email me from there saying this guy was an older man, absolute passion about hunting, and really loved his trail cameras and catching nature on, like I do my trail cameras too, right? I mean, I love the hunting, but I love catching those things on camera. Apparently, what did he say? He had 2 of them clear as day on his trail camera, and what his attitude was, well, you got to be careful with these things. So he's not sharing it. And then I had an email from somebody in southern BC by south of Cherry Creek, Lumbee Cherry Creek, somewhere, what's the name of that lake? Swan something. Anyway, had somebody from down there email me, and they knew this guy, and they saw the photos as well. That's all I know. Unfortunately, I don't have the name of him. I probably don't even... You imagine what it would take for me to find that email? That was like a few years ago, right? Who knows? There's a lot of people listening, so maybe somebody watching us right now knows the man and might be able to get it across to him that it's to not be scared of shit. So there you go, man. Thanks for reaching out. I'm sure if you're into it, digging, you're going to find out, right? I'd be more interested. I think it'd be easier for somebody in the Mount Currie band to find the young Native man in Pemberton, Mount Currie, who has the photograph of 3 of them on his cell phone. His girlfriend cuts hair across from the Petro can, or girlfriend at the time, and I believe she's still there. So there you go, you guys. All you sleuths in Mount Currie, you guys know everybody. Be easier to find that photograph, I'm guessing, currently. Now, what do we got? The tree that fell in front of me that wasn't there. Here we go. Hi, Steve. Please don't use my name. It was 1998 when I was taking a stand in late afternoon deer hunting. I remember it was a warm day and with approximately 3 inches of snow on the ground. I came across a large track, approximately 24 inches long by 12 inches wide. I passed it off as melted out man track. I was only on the stand for approximately 5 or 10 minutes when I heard 3 extremely loud tree knocks to my left and slightly uphill. It sounded to be 20 to 30 yards away. The woods were not very thick with trees, and I still could not see any movement. Within 15 seconds of the tree knocks, I heard a large tree come crashing down not 10 to 15 yards to my right. I should have been able to see that tree fall because the woods to my right, were very thin. I remember the woods were dead quiet and there was no wind. When I returned to camp, I asked my buddy if those loggers were done for the season. He said yes. I also told him I heard a large tree come crashing down. I didn't think about this happening to me until I started listening to your viewers' encounters. You've opened my eyes to what is out there. You always say, put it all in there. So here we go. All right. 2 days later, approximately 3/4 of a mile from that incident, I was cutting through a section of woods and was told I should cut a snowmobile trail in about a mile from my starting point. Well, I was only about 500 yards into my hunt when I started feeling very uncomfortable. I found myself backtracking to my starting point at the logging road 10 times faster than it took me to go 500 yards. When I got to the logging road, I asked myself, what the hell just happened? UFOs, you say. Excuse me, I know you do not like pictures. Well, I have a video and snapshots that are zoomed in that should blow your mind. While videotaping a couple of fighter jets, I reviewed the video and came up with this. A white ball of energy comes out of the craft above the fighter jets and flies from top center to middle left of the video. A small black craft is in the last 2 seconds of the video near the pine tree, and it's only there for about 1/3 of a second. Thanks, John. Well, that's a little odd. Okay, man, thanks, John. I'll show the pictures. I don't see any video. Oh, I guess there is a video in here. All right, I will have to go back and try to find the video from your email and then stick it in here. I will, man, all right? So I can't really say much on the video because I haven't seen it, but that, whatever that is that you caught, obviously has some kind of right angles with straight lines and corners to it. Looks rather bizarre and absolutely unexplainable. It's not that I don't like pictures. I haven't said I don't like pictures. It's just that pictures for me don't do anything. But like I would say, it doesn't mean that the rest of you don't get to see the pictures. You know, that's what I've been getting at all along with what I'm doing is what the previous people who were so-called gatekeepers of this topic, they, for some egomaniac, narcissistic reasons, decided that you're only allowed to hear stories that they want you to hear, and you're only allowed to hear details that they want you to hear, right? And as I watched that embarrassing shit, evil, disgusting display go down, I'm like, F you. Nobody decides for me what I will see or listen to. So, getting back to my main point, pictures don't do anything for me, unless I can see it, unless it's the whites of the eyes and the eyelashes, but it doesn't mean that you guys can't see the pictures. Right? I don't decide what you guys hear. I don't decide what you guys get to see. Somebody sends it in. If it isn't absolute, blatant insulting, I'm going to share it with you. Don't chew that picture. Come here. Come here. Come here, you little dick. What are you doing? I gave you a fresh deer bone. All right? Get up here. Now look at the size. Chili grew about, what, 10 pounds last night? Look at that mug. I have a bear. I don't have a puppy. I have a great big black bear who's about to turn into a grizzly bear. Okay? It has to bite non-stop. Non-stop. Right? I'm gonna get her defanged. I guess she's doing it anyway. Okay, beat it. Now, trust me, she's got all the chewy toys. No, get out of there. She's got all the chewy toys you can imagine. Fresh bones out of the freezer, a bag of bones in the freezer. I guess it just is what it is with puppies, right? Anyway, I'm all over the map this morning, aren't I? Yeah, so I share everything. It's up to you guys, all right? And if you don't like something, fast forward too, all right? It's like people will, I'll get a lot of people email me saying, you know what, I don't mind watching your channel, but I won't watch now because your intros were just way too long. Like, has anybody not ever heard of fast forward, ever? Isn't it funny? The things that people email me to me that make them angry is off the charts. If I change the music, some people actually go out of their way to email that they can't stand the music. Go back to the old one. It's endless. Anyway, I'm rambling. Rambling. Listen to this one. This is titled Mountain Man Returns Home. This is sent on September of 22. Hello, Steve. My name is Clark. I grew up in the area of Mount Davis in Pennsylvania, the highest elevation point in the Appalachian mountain chain. I've hunted there for years until I enlisted into the Army. I returned home to the mountains in March of 2020 when COVID started up. I worked for the government for years. I emptied all my bank account and headed north to a small cabin alone in the mountains. The only visitors I had were a pair of eagles and white-tailed deer that I would feed occasionally. One day after work in the garden, I walked to the stream not far from cabin to wash up for lunch. I left my towel hanging on a branch and my soap in a Ziploc bag on a log next to the stream. When I returned in the evening to wash up before nightfall, the log where the soap laid was broken in half, about 6 inches in diameter, and the towel and soap was missing. I looked for signs of individuals that might be near my camp, and there was nothing. So what could it have been? The nights and mornings were still cold, and we're still getting snow occasionally on the mountain, so I would leave the top portion of my window open about 1 inch to let the smoke ventilate from my cabin stove, backdrafts at night while I was asleep. But when I would awake in the morning, the window would be closed. As I walked around the cabin looking for tracks or evidence of something or someone in the area, nothing was there. I often wondered why the evenings and nights were so dead quiet and still not even the rustling sounds of wind through the trees. I stayed there for a few months and then moved closer to town. I returned a couple years later and set up camped along the stream far from the cabin. I laid in my sleeping bag on a ground tarp looking up into the night sky. It was filled with stars. And again I noticed the silence. It was dead quiet still. As I looked across an open area not far from me, about 30 feet in, a light mist. Sorry, there's a little bit of puncture. Let me read that one more time. It's an important sentence, I think. As I looked across an open area not far from me, about 30 feet in, a light mist, there he stood, about 12 feet tall, a huge, long, dark-haired creature that stood upright on 2 legs. Then time suddenly stopped for about 6 hours. I do not remember nothing. When I regained consciousness in the early morning darkness, I could tell that I was dragged on the ground tarp to where the creature was standing in the mist. I reached for my 12 gauge and my cell phone. I called a friend, and fortunately they answered, and I asked them if they would meet me at the trailhead by the dirt road, and they agreed. As I walked in the morning darkness through the open fields to the trailhead, I could tell I was being stalked by the creature. He would just stay out of the light of my headlamp. I also heard him walk on my left flank about 20 yards away. When I made it to the gravel road, my friend was turning around and was pulling up to the trailhead. As I glanced back in the darkness, I heard a voice in my head. It said, "Do not return here." And then it stops. That sounds alarming, as all alarming can be, right? That's creepier than shit. And you're definitely not the first one to have emailed about being moved, dragged, people pulled out of a tent, and losing time. The losing time part would really, really be upsetting as well, right? I hope I didn't miss any, or you didn't miss any of that. I hope you didn't miss any of the story. If you did, send in the rest, all right? Wow. 6-inch log busted up. Nice. Another member of the Club of No Return. Didn't ask for it. Picture of a print. Hello, General of Common Sense. Sign me up for ridding the earth of idiots and political leaders. One and the same. This picture was taken after my shit-eaten night of terror by a very upset, older, single forest person throwing small trees 10 to 20 feet high down at my camp, complete with root balls. Most were dead trees from a burned out forest fire, but the scream / growl / mind thought I received, he wanted to pull my head off. You see, General, I'm an empath, another thing I never asked for, along with other gifts / curses one gets from getting killed. And then God or the Creator sends you back with things others do not have or not taught how to use. Directions. They would be nice to have or be taught to people. I believe these people have full use of these things, and I might be here to teach those who are willing to learn from the people. Steve, I now have had peaceful interactions with the clan of these people after learning that they only want to be left to themselves and like fruits, nuts, jerky, and shiny things. And baskets, LOL. I also learned they can be within 10 yards from you and never see them unless they move or blink of an eye. I was sitting on my outhouse playing a card game on my phone and had a young female watching the small, hairless man doing my business when I got that feeling. You know, the feeling I refer to. So I slowly look up, using my eyes only, and there she was watching me. No door in the outhouse. I live on my gold claim alone. No need for one. Anyway, I look back at my phone, turn on video, and look back up. As I lift my phone up recording, I can no longer see her. I was amazed because she was just there. Now I can't see her. I start talking to her, making stupid grunts and sounds to see if she'll move again. Nothing. I offered her fruit by asking if she wanted some apples, and the whole time filming my talking to her, but nothing. I can't see her anymore. 3 minutes. Plus. Then I say, I guess I was seeing things. Then I replayed it, and sure as shit, I pick out a hand, fingers around a branch, and the tree she was behind was a madrone tree. They are not a thick tree. They have large leaves and red, smooth limbs, almost like a manzanita brush. And it was as if she changed her color of herself to match her background, kind of like the praying mantis do. I have no proof of this, but from what I've seen is what I base this on. So, after seeing my video, I went back and sat down looking at the same spot while watching the video, and where she was on video, you could see a darker spot behind the tree in the video. But looking there now, I can see the dirt and brush and normal things. Use my name, Keith Dovicki, aka Goldmine. I'm sending this on a different email than my other one to see if you are getting my emails. I sent in many other informing letters to you for the people to share my many experiences and things I've been learning about these people. Godspeed, General. Keep up the good work you have done for the people, by the people. Keep your powder dry, head on a swivel, and the needle out of your arm. I will not comply. Mask, vax, or follow the leader. For you only. Okay, man, gotcha. All right, gotcha. And no video. I don't know if you sent us that video. You sent us a picture of a print. It's a fuzzy picture, but I can tell you won't probably be able to see us on here, you guys, but I'll hold it here anyway. I can make out the faint outline myself of that print, and I can guarantee you if that was a bear, I don't know what state. Did you say what state you're in? If that was a bear, the only bear that can make a footprint that big would be a brown bear from Kodiak. So, that's my take on that picture of the print. Thanks for sending that in, and you know what's going to happen now. You stated that you got a video of one on your phone, and you emailed in and didn't include the video, so no biggie to me, but the people are going to be going, well, where's the frickin' video, dude? Right? It's funny how many people will email in a story and they say they got one on a trail camera or they got the video, got the photo, but they don't include it. Kind of odd. CCTV, Leavenworth, Kansas. Again, I'm done effing around. Steve, I was the wounded twice soldier, CCTV, from Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. and I sent you the dead deer 25 feet up a tree picture. Okay, man, gotcha. With you. Absolutely remember. Well, where to start? Went back to my deer stand. It was destroyed, and it's made of old rig pipes. Totally destroyed. That was 4 months ago. No shit. I'll move on to my fiance is getting slapped with this shit. She struggled with my encounter for 8 years. Now she believes me now. 8 years now. She believes me now, LOL. We went to Wyandotte County Lake. Wyandotte County Lake a month ago, July 2022, to have some fun, if you know what I mean. Had company at my house. We had just pulled into a shelter. There's at least 15 shelters around this small lake, and it's a quarter mile south of the Missouri River, Kansas side. As you're about to do the deed, she looks over the shelter and sees what she thinks is a homeless person and says, "Stop, look at the shelter." I think I read this. So I did. I'm like, what the F, not again. And sure enough, the bastard was peeking from behind the stone shelter, swaying back and forth. What the F, sick MFer. So now she believes. Finally, some relief for me. Okay, I'm going to keep reading. I may have read it. There's a lot of new people here. Let's just get through it. August 2nd, 2022, I went fishing at that lake again by myself, and I'd been there 10 minutes. Caught a slab crappie, almost 2 pounds. And then I got slammed on top of my head with a golf ball-sized rock. And I'm like, what the F? No other people or cars where I parked. There's woods all around this lake. I'm bleeding pretty good from the rock. So I immediately grab all my fishing gear and head to my truck. I leave. I'm driving around the lake. Wyandotte County Sheriff's deputies patrol the lake. I finally found one. Stopped and told him what happened. He's like, it has to be a person effing with me. He's not too happy. So he followed me back to where it happened. We can hear movement in the woods 40 yards from where I was fishing. He gets out, yells, "Come on out." No response. So he pulls out his revolver, which I said, not big enough. He heads towards the woods, gets about halfway there, and on cue, here comes that dreadful roar, which took me straight back to Fort Leavenworth. He almost runs backwards. He's walking so fast, he looks at me, and I asked if it roared at me earlier. I said, no, just a rock up my head, which I'm still bleeding. I said, grab your 12 gauge. He did. As he grabbed it, we could hear the hairy bastard taking off away through the woods north towards the river. My oldest cousin, she says she's a psychic, told me at a family reunion, why they keep messing with me is due to what I had done in Afghanistan and Iraq. That's a weird one, isn't it? I had dusted a lot of bad guys over there. I was floored how she could know. She said they consider me a threat. I've told very few people in my family what happened overseas, only my fiance and my 2 oldest kids. They don't even know my cousin or talk to her. So there's what happened in my world. Steve, I've had enough. They show up at my house. It's on 12 gauge. It's on. 12 gauge slugs are being slung their way. I'm done with this shit. Stay safe out there, brother. Watch your 6. And yes, you still have brass balls. Well, God bless you and yours. Michael, Kansas City. Okay, man, be careful. I get it. I mean, shit, I don't give a shit who you are. Somebody slugs you in the head in the dark with a rock and makes you bleed like a bastard. Well, it's game on, right? It's game on. Kansas City, been there before. After we finished from the World Turkey Hunting Competition, we used to go in Lacine, Kansas. And again, I had to get a ride to Kansas City to fly out. It's the only time I've been to Kansas City. All right, and I know we have read that one before. Next, heard Sabe howls at Stave Lake. It's funny how many people have taken on calling these beings Sabe, right? I understand there's a handful of channels or some damn thing, people out there who actually made emails or made videos trying to tear me down for demanding that people stop calling them Bigfoot. Yeah, I demand people do things all the time, right? I decided out of respect and trying to go back in time to when we should have listened to the First Nations people here, we should have in the beginning, then we wouldn't probably be where we are right now with a lot of things, but they said that that is what they call them, and that's what they were called. So I'm in. It's just a lot of you decided as well. You're in as well on your own. All right. Hey, bud, kind of a weak story. Okay, this is titled Heard Sabe Howls at Stave Lake. Stave Lake's in British Columbia, not far from me, and very popular for these sightings. Been there. It is kind of creepy around there. Hey, bud, kind of a weak story, but here it goes. I was camping at Stave Lake with a couple of buddies, sitting by the campsite around 7 or 8 p.m., shooting the shit, and then we heard the weirdest roar/howl we ever heard. None of us could place it. Not that any of us are crazy outdoor guys or anything, but we all grew up in the lower mainland and never heard this before. You could tell it was very far away, at least a few kilometers, but it was still very audible. You could tell it was moving by the sound. We only heard it for a few minutes, then it was gone. A few minutes in wildlife time is hours, man. Anyways, nothing too special, but there it is, bud. Thanks for all you do, and you effing rock, bro. Don't read this part. Okay, man, yeah, a lot of people email me asking me to guide here in BC, down in southern BC too, a lot of people. But what I can't do, and nobody can guide anybody without having, first off, they have to either own a guide outfit area in British Columbia, and if not, then for me to guide you or anybody, I would have to have an assistant guide license issued to me from the outfitter. And then you guys would have to do the deal, and then I would have to do the deal with the outfitter, whatever's gonna go down, and then I could guide you. That's the only way. So, any other way would be absolutely illegal, and believe me, the conservation officers here in BC would dogpile on me if they ever heard of a rumor that I might have been doing some illegal guiding, which I don't and I can't. So there you go. Could I go hunting with people and give them a hand sometime? Easily. Do it all the time. Who knows? Maybe. You never know. Anyway, thanks for that email, man. I appreciate it big time. Now, but that sounds something else, right? Obviously, it has an impact on you, to knee-jerk you into going out of your way to find me, us, and share it with us. All right, here's another one. As I pondered life on dialysis and where we are in this world. All right, man, we're here with you, for you. Greetings, Steve, and our ever-growing How to Hunt family of no return. My name is Mark. I live in New Zealand. You've read of one of my encounters some time back, and I say I'm reduced to living on dialysis, but hey, better that than dead any day. Well, that sucks, man. Sorry to hear it. It has given me more time to watch your fantastic and worthwhile videos. It has also given me time to think about the very complexities of this world we live in. This has led me to think, are we, the How to Hunt members, better receptors of the strange things happening in our surroundings? I ask this because with all the spare time, I've been weighing up my many and varied experiences, not only through my time in law enforcement, but just general day-to-day life. That leads me to ask, how many of your followers, besides having Sabe experiences, also have UFO sightings or light anomaly, bracket, flashes out of nowhere, bracket, deja vu and paranormal experiences? I ask because with all this time in my hand, LOL, I've been able to remember and reconsider some of the following things. Bracket, your mind tends to hide things from you otherwise. Bracket. As I said, I've encountered our Sabe, pronounced Mohau. But I've been plagued over the years with other things. I've lost count of the number of paranormal encounters I've experienced from a young age. I would be very uncomfortable when visiting some relatives and the old villas they lived in because I would feel and hear things I could not explain. After talking to a religious friend, he left me well aware of the power of prayer and how to ask for protection. I have seen a number of UFOs over the years. Funny enough, the last hour-long experience was in our November 21 over Wellington on a fine day, initially starting with a tumbling object at altitude, later leading to observing a cylindrical object, gunmetal in color, hiding in cloud. It was easily the length of a football field and a quarter of the width. It's pretty crazy seeing that shit, isn't it? I also recall having had a number of bizarre dreams throughout the years. The most recent, very lucid one I recall. I was being held down on a table by some odd gray entity, and I began to fight violently, but felt my hands being restrained by others. What's up? What are you fired up about? Soaking wet dog just comes charging back in, running around. Sorry about that. I began to fight violently, but felt my hands being restrained by others. When I woke, I was perspiring profusely, but actually cold to touch. This was on a balmy summer night. What made it more believable was the triangular dots of the webbing between my thumb and index finger that I found in the daylight. Uh-oh, that's creepier than shit. This is not the first time I've woken with odd marks on my hand, arms, or body after similar dreams. Yes, I know about. Now, should you read this, some of your followers will be saying, wacko. So, where am I going with this? I believe that some of us are, besides being well aware of our surroundings, we're actually receptive to the ability to not only use our sixth sense, but to see, as I think, through the veil of obstruction that most of the population seem affected by. Agreed. I say this because, try as I might, I cannot seem to ignore it when the world around me appears to be surreal. I used the term sixth sense before. I lived by it all my life. I cannot explain it properly, but I guess it like a premonition in my mind, or an overwhelming feeling of chill or power running through my body. Believe me, it saved my life and that of my colleagues on many occasions. So much so they referred to me as Jedi, because of my uncanny ability to just turn up without prompting when, where, or just before the shit really hit the fan. Believe me, I did more times than I care to remember. But I digress. It would be of interest, as I say, to know how many of your great followers feel the same way, be it all or just some of the things mentioned. It would also be of interest how many also see the way this world is being dominated by, as I call it, evil people with evil intent. Yeah, that part's clear as frickin' day, right? I don't get it, man. The thing that concerns me most is the inability for most of the population to actually comprehend the current goings on. As I say, it's like there is a veil over them. Since about the year 2000, I've been aware that the population of the planet are being manipulated, treated like vermin, and generally abused by governments for no other reason than to reduce the population and turn us all into slaves of some sort or other. Yeah, I think we're already there. The slave part's been in place for a long time. As I say, too much time on my hands, but as someone who has followed you for a few years now, it's made watching somewhat easier. Thank you for all you're doing in bringing people to a place to unload, talk, and generally come to the terms they are not alone. Yours in life, Mark. Mark, absolutely appreciate you, man. It's unfortunate the shit you're going through right now, but I guess it's just a part of the ride for many of us. New Zealand, I've been there. I ran around what I call frickin' jungles. Haast, I think it was H-A-S-T, the West Coast, South Island, went there and ran around in that point, past the community, trying to find red deer on my own. I hiked up a river there into the jungle, and there's those great big eels in the river. Kind of freaked me out because I wasn't familiar with them. But man, I remember walking in that jungle near the ocean. I was literally walking on top of vines and roots and shit for I don't know how long, and I don't even know how far below me the ground was. That's how thick that shit was. Incredible. And then I busted through to a bit of a place for some solid ground and found some wallows and rubs where the red stags were actually running around in there. I just could not believe that anything on four legs could walk through there and get in there. Now, I do know there's a lot of sightings around there. Also, we flew in a helicopter up into the mountains and got dropped off, and then went on tour around there too. I got a lot of pictures and video from there. But anyway, babbling. Back onto what you wrote. Since you've been here a few years, you've heard from dozens of people around the globe who've reported the same shit as you, right? I've come to the realization that I think for us to fully accept, understand, and comprehend the shit that we're talking about here, and the wonders of why, where, how, what is going on, and who are they, referring to these beings. I think that we probably need to put, if you really, really, really want to get to the bottom of shit, at this stage of the game, I think that we need to figure out who we really are first. I think that is a pivotal piece to the puzzle. First, we gotta figure out who the hell we are for real, what we can do, where we really, truly came from, what's the deal, and then all the rest of the puzzle pieces will just slide into place. That's where I am right now. I've been there for a little while now. Anyway, keep watching and listening, man, and stay healthy, all right? Keep riding this ride out. Ride it right out till the wheels are wore right out, no matter what. And then you learn some more, Mark. You keep emailing it into me, into the people, share with the people what you find out, what you learn, all right? And we'll keep doing the same with you too, obviously, right? What are you doing? Okay, here's another one. This is titled, Prayers to Edgar. First off, Steve, great video and audio in the last couple of days on Vancouver Island. I'm a retired Master Sergeant in the U.S. Army. I served 4 tours in Iraq as a scout, specialized in reconnaissance, intelligence, target acquisition, human tracking, and combat search and rescue. I've always been independent in the bush with no fear of anything until 2018 when I had my Sasquatch experience. Let's just say, now I will not enter any large wooded area without being armed or in the company of another human with me. I'm trying to figure out how this experience has changed my whole train of thought of such a strong-minded woodsman. This scared the shit out of me, as much that all my combat experience and training means nothing, as I will not go in the woods without being armed or with another highly trained armed individual. And I guess my question is, how can all that training, muscle memory, and violence witnessed in Iraq make me wary about entering the forest? Right? Okay, Rich, appreciate that email, man. And it just adds to, I don't know how long you've been listening to all the people talking here, but I don't know how many people we have had that emailed in with past combat experience, and so far to date, 100% of the people who wrote in with this experience with these beings in the timber, and they had combat experience, 100% have said that the fear and terror from the experience with these beings squashed anything they experienced in any firefight in war. So for all of you out there who are listening and learning and haven't had that experience, try to wrap your noggin around that one, right? You know, when we have hundreds of people writing in about the terror and the dread, you know, they're just not writing in a casual experience yesterday. It's frickin' mind-boggling. It's absolutely intense beyond, right? I wonder how many of you out there are actually trying to wrap your bean around the magnitude of the terror that people are trying to describe in print and in text, trying to describe to you without using a voice. You know, listen to this man that just emailed us in today. This is a man that possibly any bad guy on the planet today would be absolutely shitting themselves to know that a man of this caliber training was after them, right? This is what we would consider today's #1 absolute badass who's been whittled down to being scared shitless to go into the forest where there's no IEDs, no landmines, right? No tripwires, no people in camo in the dark ready to blow your head off with thermal scopes or whatever, right? Anyway, if you want to email back, I'm sure everybody's curious. Maybe you might not be comfortable to do it, but if you would like to email us in what happened, what'd you experience, man? Share it and where. What happened and where. If you don't want to get into the dirty details, that's fine, but I think possibly just for your community's sake, or people who might go frequent the forest or the park or whatever it was you're at, maybe just possibly email us back, throw us a heads up of where it went down, all right? So that at least the people near that community, they'll know. And then say, as an example, a father, then at least he can have the choice of whether or not he's going to possibly take his family there overnight camping, or let his kids go there to ride their dirt bikes or whatever, all right? Maybe at least throw us that bone, because I'm interested to hear about it. And keep listening, because a lot of people are going to chime in. There's a lot of people coming forward with their truth and the real true shit that's going on this planet today around them. Oh, sorry, and I would suggest getting a dog. I know people always say I would go in the woods with somebody else. From my experience guiding, especially guiding up north, I've found that I feel that if it's some shit's going down, I don't know what another person's going to really do when it comes down to these things. But a canine, hell yeah, bring a canine, man. Bring a dog. If you're really having anxiety about it, bring a dog. All right, here we go. Thanks, Steve, for your passion. My name is Steve also, no last name. I'll try to make it short because I'm a writer. In 1955, I had this thing looking in my window, 12 feet above ground in my window many nights. I screamed for my dad to turn on the light before I pissed my bed. Its head was the size of the window, yellow eyes. Years later, 2004, Lake Mead, Nevada. Been there, fishing for high-bred stripers in a remote area. I felt a dread never before to just leave now. 4, maybe 5 years ago, I found your channel for Missing 411. First episode, you bow hunted a moose. You bow hunted a moose in the mouth of an arrow. Oh, you mean I shot the moose in the mouth of an arrow? I'll explain later. I believe later you found your arrow on a quad road. Never knew if you found the moose. Oh, you just mixed up two stories, man. I'd seen and heard of Bigfoot, but gave it a minimum of attention because I've had an open mind and do know where they may exist. I was starting to listen to shares. I realized that things in my life were very different than what I thought. 2004, Lake Mead, broad daylight. I had extreme fear that I was not only watched, but that I should leave. This is way before your channel. I left. After 2 years of your experiences shared, I began to have a fascination because I'm like you. I'm one who wants answers. I was attending a suburban counseling place which bordered woods, and every morning would walk by and say, "Good morning, Sabe." At times I'd bring apples and leave them in the woods. Once I looked for sheds, but the time for them was not right. A week later, when walking the 4-lane highway to get to the bus at the corner, there was a shed on the road at the corner where I would cross. Go figure. Yeah, I had something like that happen to me, similar. Later, one night in early March next year, 2020, outside about 2 a.m. for a smoke, I heard no less than 6 to 8 owls hooting back and forth. It was not normal, so I went inside, not scared but curious. The fear I once had as a kid had been replaced with many questions. In a way, I would like to meet and ask many questions to them. I'm not stupid though, because not all are kind, just like people are. I was a minister and have knowledge about the Nephilim. The Bible says, new knowledge will be revealed, and have an open mind. I have much to tell you, but maybe a private email one day. I do know your passion and stand with you, but this world will soon pass. It's in our Creator's hands. I've been an empath since age 6 and hated it, but it has helped me many times. You're right about many things. As sure as you are about real life and the peace and wonder of creation around you, it is because of our Creator. All your answers lie there. King Solomon said, "A wise man will continue to learn and take in more knowledge. An open mind leads to freedom. Truth sets us free." I do understand where our world is headed. I don't understand many things, but I'm getting closer. My question for Sabe are quite different. If I have a chance, I realize I'm taking a big chance. I've died twice already and have been brought back. I don't fear nothing. On a side note and lighter note, I don't hunt no more because of a-holes in the woods, but take photos of wildlife. I've raised animals, had them walk up to me in the wild. raised a hawk, raccoons, and even held a full-grown black bear in my arms. Animals feel people. They know good and bad in a person. All our surroundings created by the Great Spirit have given us connection. You just have to feel and honor it. I'm a very small heritage of Siksika, S-I-K-S-I-K-A, Blackfoot heritage. But I'm old and sick and can't get out like I want. Anyway, take care. I have a few pics I have for you. LOL. We have some of the same tastes in many ways. Okay, man. That's a slab of a striper right there, isn't it? And a nice car. Here's the pictures. Thanks for sending that in. Appreciate you. We'll see what happens, right? A lot of people say it's in the hands of somebody else. It's in their hands, it's in the Creator's hands. Well, right now, my life is in my hands. And I'm going to try to make a difference. No matter what. I'm going to keep trying to make a difference. No matter what. Now, what else do we got? What else do we got? All right. Thanks for sending that in again, man. Appreciate it. You learn more. You got any more knowledge for the people when it comes to this topic or more? Send it to me. Send it to me. I'm a sponge. I want to hear it. I want to learn it. Now, hey, puppy, what do you got? Why? Why did I get a puppy? Just kidding. All right, here's another one. It's titled Idaho Experience. Hey, Steve, Jim Clausen. Use my name, I'm a free man. I know you're a busy man, but I'm glad you're willing. Voice is there for those of us that know what's true. I sent in my Northern California experience, and after hearing your admonitions to send it all, I needed to add my first experience, and from an area not a lot of experiences are reported from. Powell Ranger Station, USFS, is in northern Idaho and very remote. I was 16 years old at the time and spending the summer with my aunt and uncle who were both USFS employees, my mentors that led me to my forestry career. Beautiful raw country and a wide-eyed kid that wanted to see it all. I had access to my uncle's CJ5 and fished the Lochsa and White Sands every day, L-O-C-H-S-A. Lochsa and White Sands every day. Beautiful waters. Never another soul in sight. Then, on a tip from the district biologist, we were suggested a trip to Walton Lakes in the Selway/Bitterroot Wilderness to fish some highly overpopulated mountain lakes. A trio of them, 8,000 feet right at timberline below Grave Peak, God's country and nowhere at the same time. My aunt, uncle, and myself made camp late evening. I arose before them the next morning and grabbed my tackle and trekked down the bowl that held the highest lake, right at tree line. It was ringed on the north with fir and spruce high-altitude scrubby shit, 20 to 30 footers. North end was scree and the face of Grave Peak above. Water was crystal clear, and standing on a boulder at first light, I watched every beautiful trout take the bait. That's wicked. About 20 minutes in, I heard a whistle. My first thought was my uncle coming down to join me. I hollered back with no reply. Then a louder whistle from across the lake. My second thought was marmot coming from the rock scree, but the direction was wrong. My second thought was marmot coming from the rock scree, but the direction was wrong. Again, I shouted up the ridge, no response. Moved up toward the rock/scree pile, hoping I'd see a marmot. Not quite totally freaked out, but spidey senses was on. There are two smaller lakes just below in the valley, and I thought perhaps someone had hiked up on me. As I stood on the rocks, a whistling came from the right, in the trees below, followed by a response on the left, where I'd just been. Not marmot whistles, loud, voluminous whistles. Now I'm freaked. I had to get back to my right, to the ridge back up to camp, but that was where the last closest whistle was. Pucker factor maximum. I worked back that way. As I came around the side of the lake, I could see into the trees/scrub and saw motion. Dark, thick, distinct motion, as tall as the scrawny firs. moving north into heavier cover. Large, upright, and big. Bipedal, moving the scrub trees aside noisily, but with ease. Fully freaked out now, chucked my rod, bailed, and scrambled up the scree field to camp, where everyone was still in the morning routine. That Daiwa ultralight combo may still be down there, I don't know. The area is so remote, one of the largest wilderness areas in the US, and that location, I'm sure I know what I ran into. Would very much like to hear from others in the northern Idaho or western Montana area about incidents. A lot of land. Got to be some folk with knowledge. Jim Clausen. Jim, there is, without a doubt. You know, Dave Pilatus moved to Montana, and not only Sasquatch experiences go on in those states, every state, but also there's been a lot of people gone missing in Montana as well. And I believe, I haven't seen his movie yet, his latest movie yet, but I believe he interviewed a man because he phoned me one time when I was on my way into the woods and told me about a very, very alarming incident that he just heard from an older couple who lived at a ranch, and a trailhead was near there to where he was investigating somebody who went missing, and they actually had the camera guys with him, and they managed to get it all on video, and I believe he used it in that last movie. And all he said to me after that was, make sure you look up. Make sure you look up when you feel shit's going down. And that's in Montana. I guess that's a little unrelated to what you're writing about, though, right? But anyway, lots of people heard the whistles. Lots. And I know lots of people have emailed in from Idaho and Montana, Colorado, Utah, Washington, Oregon, California, Mexico, Arizona, New Mexico. Not that Mexico's a state. Yeah. It's endless. Endless, endless, endless. But anyway, I'm not too focused this morning because we're leaving tomorrow. I've got all my shit done, I believe, but I'm still feeling a little antsy. So I gotta get going, check in with the boss, make sure I haven't missed anything, get ready to leave, and then I will try to keep this going while I'm traveling. Shouldn't be too hard, I don't think. And then, but I'll be here again tomorrow. Oh, she just came in with the lower jawbone of a deer. Puppy life, I'll tell you what. But anyway, I'm gonna get going. I'll be back again. I'm gonna get as many voices out as I literally physically can before my ride's up. And I can't wait to get back into Adventure World. Can't wait. It drives me nuts. I can't stand, I mean, I like it here. I can't stand being inside. I can't stand being in the same place for too long. It drives me frickin' crazy. And you know what? It's actually, I met an absolute interesting dude a few months ago. His name's Guy Shockey. Yes, he's related to his cousin's the more well-known hunter who we just don't see eye to eye. But anyway, man, I would almost, once I get this place done, I'd like to drag him in here and talk to this man. He's a fighter jet pilot, deep sea diver, adventurer, gold treasure, sunken ship, seeker, finder. God, this guy is one interesting dude. Also outfitter, hunter. He was hunting when I met him, and we had a good bullshit session, and real easy to talk to, very intelligent guy. And what he said to me was there's actually a biological term. There's a biological term, but he said that the adventure thing is actually a gene. When you've got it, it's in your genes, your DNA, whatever. I forget exactly how to explain it, but he said it's an actual thing. It's an actual thing to have, and it's very overpowering. And he said, so I was trying to explain to him how I need to go. I need to go and take off by myself for at least a couple of weeks or more, no matter what. And he said it's either a gene or it's in your DNA, whatever it is, and there's a term for it. And then I found that quite interesting. I guess I'm probably not making any sense right now, am I? Anyway, I would love to get him in here and have that guy have a good conversation with that man. Very intelligent guy, very interesting dude, and very humble. Matter of fact, easy to talk to, man. But he made me aware of that. So I guess that's what's wrong with me. But anyway, so I'm looking forward to getting going. And then once I get solo, I'm just gonna go out there into the world and see some of the world that would potentially scare the shit out of me. But I'm not gonna be scared, and I'm gonna go see it and do it anyway. Now we're gonna report it all to you guys and share it with you guys. Why do I need to do that? Haven't a clue. I just do. And I'm going with it. Babble, babble. I'll be back shortly. Keep writing in those. Keep sharing the truth, all right? And if I, for some weird reason, don't make it back from this next adventure, somebody, please pick up that torch and keep passing it forward and keep all that truth coming out, all right? Don't be scared, be brave. Speak the truth no matter how crazy it is. It doesn't matter how insane it is. Just get it out and share it, because if it's true, many people have experienced the exact same thing you have too, right? Anyway, Club and No Return. The links are available if you want it. I think Sarah's got a handful of hats left if you want them. I don't think she'll be doing that too much longer. It's a lot of physical labor, but I think she's got some black and tan hats that are pretty cool. Anyway, blah, blah. Links are there if you want them, and I'll be back shortly. Be safe.